Markdowns and the problem of Markdown with AI. So, what is Markdown? It's basically a markup language that allows you to format a plain text in a simple and easy to read way. So, how does it differ from HTML? Well, it's not really made for making web pages. It's more of a communication thing where you write a documentation in an MD format. It's used for different purpose as well. So here is an example of a MD file, what it looks like in GitHub. This is the documentation of a class I built. So if I go and open the readme.md file, you can see that if I go to code, that these hashtags, these backticks, these things are used to generate this one right here. So what is the problem with Markdown and AI tools? So basically, these AI tools use Markdown to give us the preview of the code that we tell them to give us. So what is happening here is we are telling them to give us a Markdown file. They are writing the thing in Markdown itself, and the sites that they are running on render it as they were giving us a output, which doesn't make much sense. I am not sure how good I was explaining that, but for example, I have a little bit of JavaScript code right here, which is basically a button with a constructor which generates a HTML button. So if I were to give it to ChatGPT and say like, I need a documentation for this class, I will upload it in GitHub as readme.md. So if I press enter, I am asking it for md code, right? Readme.md code. But what happens is when it is writing the readme code using the backticks and the hashtags and everything, the rendering that it uses parses it to become a markdown itself. So now instead of me getting the markdown code like this hashtag, this thing right here, sometimes it's gonna give you a bit of piece of markdown code, and from next line it's gonna render the markdown itself. So meaning there is no proper way to get markdown code. So if I go ahead and I'm like I need the markdown markup code itself. So if I see something like this, it's gonna give me a little bit of code. But after a few lines of generating the code, what's gonna happen is it's basically taking us, it's going out of the markdown mode, the code mode, and it is rendering the markdown itself as a heading, and so I'm not getting the complete markdown. So this might be completely my fault because I'm bad at giving prompts to these AI tools, but what I mean to say is markdowns generally don't work well with these AI things on the web. So let me know if you have any workaround around this, or is this just my problem? But yeah, this is Markdown on AI tools.